Hello, welcome to We're the North Bank podcast on 40 Corner TV. Hope you're all well. We've got Tom back. Tom's always here, resident. Apart from last week.
I'm not. Yeah, apart from last week, I'm not sure if that says more about the fact our social lives that we're here on a Tuesday and Thursday. Or
Yeah.
oh dear me.
I'm not sure it says a lot, really. It's just kind of, yeah. It's either all or nothing, isn't it, really? We're either here for both or here for none.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
So there we go.
Do I need to get a light bulb out for a quick chat, or are we all right?
A light bulb? You don't need a light bulb for me, mate. I'm fine without a light bulb.
It was an all or nothing joke, but there we go.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, but I wasn't giving a satisfaction, to be honest.
Exactly. Yet again, it was another rubbish joke of mine.
Just wasn't giving that satisfaction. I've been amused by it, to be honest. How are we? Have we recovered from the game yesterday? Was it everything you kind of expected to be, or what?
Do you know what? I enjoyed the game yesterday. I really
did as well.
It was pretty much as expected. Maybe Atletico not quite as on it in the first half as maybe expected. But even then, I think we were talking about the fact that they might need to feel their way into the game because they couldn't quite do what was it you or was it with AT after? Can't remember, but about how they might have to feel their way into the game a little bit because they can't necessarily do what they normally do, which is either, park the bus entirely and look to hit on the counter or actually go relatively attacking because both were dangerous and they sort of were trying to work out what to do. But yeah, game was as expected, cagey, aggressive in terms of, physical, both sides, wanting to make sure they didn't lose, but equally trying to win. It was just a really good cup tie, I thought.
It was a bit of a chess match, wasn't it? But it was,
exactly.
But I was quite entertained by it. I mean, I didn't have any considerable heart attacks either.
No, there was that 20-minute period or so, wasn't there? But
sorry, Forrest has had a shot on goal and it bounced back out to Martinez right on the line. So yeah, it's still 0-0 in that game, by the way. But yeah, I think the way it was a game of two halves, essentially, wasn't it? Because the way we started the first half was the way that they started the second half. So I think that's they'd obviously had a rocket up the backside.
Yeah.
And basically gone, you need to be pressing, you need to be closing down, you need to be doing something because you're not doing anything. Before half time, we were looking at how many goals there were going to be if they continue to play like that. And then they come out and actually stepped it up. So
do you know what though? I think the pressing point's really interesting because I actually think they deliberately didn't go for their usual pressing game in that first 45 minutes. I think they tried to replicate what City did in the cup final. And I don't think it worked, but I think that's what they tried to do. They know we talked about it. They know they're trying to play out from the back. And they were sort of trying to go in that sort of half press space, sort of sitting in that half space, waiting for the mistake to happen as it sort of came into the midfielders.
Yeah.
But, as you said the other day, what you'd like to see more is the midfielders one ahead of the other. And I think that thwarted that to some extent. And therefore, they reverted back to what they normally do.
They swapped round, actually, didn't they?
They did.
So it was actually Rice that was deeper rather than Zubimendi. And I think that seemed to free up Zubimendi a little bit.
Yeah.
I still like Rice as the box crasher, but I don't think while White's been playing, he hasn't really been able to do that.
No.
So I mean, what's happened to Timber? I don't know what's happened to Timber, but he was out. He was apparently out for days, and 3 weeks now?
Well, as I did point out to someone that made this point to me that it's still days. It's just 21 days.
Yeah, I know. We could argue that when he was out for a season, it was 260 days. But you know what I mean. But it's days run into weeks, run into months, run into years, don't they? So we obviously don't know the extent. Obviously, it's more serious than they first let on. But it was interesting. Yeah, what did you make of Martinelli's performance?
I I hadn't really given Gabby Martinelli much thought, to be honest. He wasn't expecting. I wasn't where you expecting to go.
I don't think he gave us much to think about. That was kind of my point.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of not non. Yeah, as you say, it was kind of nondescript, wasn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
he worked reasonably
anonymous.
hard as he always does, but we didn't get him into the spaces terribly well. But nor did he really find a space to sort of go, look at me, find me.
Yeah,
I think it's starting to feel like the beginning of the end for Gabby Martinelli, isn't it? Despite his performance in Europe this
both
season.
of them, in fact. Yeah, again.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
as you say, it was an anonymous performance. I genuinely thought I misheard you because I thought we were going to go somewhere else. Hence the pause.
oh, okay.
But
Well, we
yeah,
can go to that in a minute because you can tell us where you thought it was going to go, and you can because you obviously got something else to add to that. But yeah, for me, I thought Nkapie did a great job behind him. I think he
yeah,
took players inside and he kind of turned them inside, and he was rigorous, stern, yeah, he gave players loads to think about, But
yeah. For me,
yes,
Hincapié behind at that left back, I think is huge, right? At left back, sorry, left midfielder is massive because I think he's obviously doesn't offer what Calafiori does going forward, but it's not. He's not. He still offers something going forward. He attacks that back post. He can put a cross in, but I think his defensive solidity makes a real big difference. Particularly, we obviously know we're going to try and get in a top left winger in the summer. We think that's what Arsenal are going to do anyway. Certainly think it's what the fans would like to see.
be
But if
better.
Ezra's the other options there as well, then his defensive solidity allows you to sort of make that more attacking option, if you like, and cover for maybe a lack of defensive sort of work ethic down that left side. We know Martinelli protected left backs for quite a while with his defensive work rate, but if you don't have to necessarily replicate that now because of
Yeah,
Hincapié.
yeah, absolutely, and I just think he's everywhere, and he's so good defensively. It's weird, isn't it? Because you've got Calafiori as well, that's so good going forwards, and um, difficult. He finds it difficult defensively, and I wouldn't say Nkapie finds it difficult offensively, but it's not his strongest suit, is it? It's very, very Timber-esque, really. I
Yes, I
don't
think
think
so.
yet on the same level, but I think just the reference point I think is the same.
Yeah,
But
I think that's fair. I mean, it's a bit like your characterization, which I think is accurate of Hincapié going forward. I think is also fair of um, Calafiori's defensive work. It's okay, but it's not elite levels. But I think what that does give you as Arsenal is an opportunity to either pick the next season. Let's assume it's Calafiori and Hincapié next season. Is go for a combination of them depending on what your opposition is like. If you've got
yeah,
let's say you've got Fulham at the weekend like we have, or Burnley, coming up. They kind of feel more like games where Calafiori can go and excel.
yeah, you can have two marauding fullbacks,
Or
whereas
certainly
if
at
you've
least
got
one if you wanted, but
yeah, yeah,
but you've got the big games like this one against Atletico, then you
yeah,
you can go in the opposite direction, and I think that's really important for us, and I think it's what they were looking for, because I do wonder if Miles Lewis-Skelly's lack of minutes this season is also partly sort of because maybe he's been training more and more to sort of move back into that midfield slot. I don't know. It's a theory.
yeah.
Maybe we're going for a title, and he's a young player that's, and young players we know are prone to mistakes, and he's not necessarily had the form of last season, which, I don't think should be a surprise to many people given his age again.
Yeah, I mean that's my problem with White at the moment. He's not great defensively, and at the moment he's not in form offensively either.
No.
But would you put him into a back four and stop him marauding, basically, so that you can push Rice further up the field? Do you know what I mean? So he doesn't have to sit in between the two centre backs. I think that's got to be an option at the minute, because it's just he just isn't offering anything, is he?
Ben White, no, he really looks like he's struggling at the moment. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I said before the game I'd have gone Christian Mosquera as my left right back in that
And he
game.
got subbed on for him
Uh,
as well. So it was like, well, okay, maybe that is a taste of what's happening. Mascara's going to go into that right back position
for the rest of the
um,
season if Timber's not
for the
back.
rest of the season because I mean the problem there is that then who's he cover at centre back if you actually need it? That's the biggest problem, isn't it?
Well, you've still got Ben White that can come back in at right back if you need it. But I mean, I think for those big games right now, if there is no Timber back, then I think it really should be Mosquera. I mean, I messaged someone during the game saying when we'd use 4 subs, the last sub has to be Mosquera for White. You know, I mean, I'm not blaming White for the penalty, but he is not quite at the level at the moment defensively.
No,
But we know he
I
can play up, and as you say, attacking wise, not in form.
yeah, I mean, I look at White as offering more attacking than defensively, and the penalty kind of proved it. But it was like, for me, that shouldn't be a penalty anyway. I don't think it should be given. I accept that it's given because they're consistently given in Europe. But I don't think that they should be given. I think they're a bit of a nonsense, to be honest with you.
I do too. I mean, I agree with you entirely. Look, I have no complaints about the penalty in terms of the application of the rules, none whatsoever. I just, with you, I just don't think that's a penalty. I think his arm's in a natural position. He's gone to make a block. It's been a mishit shot. It's hit him and then it's hit his arm without his arm sort of moving towards the ball or anything like that. What's a man supposed to do apart from have no arms? But we know they get given in Europe, and
Yeah,
therefore, you know, I don't think there can be complaints from that point of view. But you
yeah,
know, I think it's harsh, and I think it's part of what changed that game in that 20-minute period. You know, again, I had people messaging me going, "Well, look at this! Look, we're going defensive. We're retreating. We do this. We've no big game." But I think it was very momentum. You know, as you said, they came out after half term with a rocket. They then get the penalty. I think that kept them going for another 10, 15 minutes or so.
yeah.
You know,
Got the
well,
crowd back up.
yeah, and Arsenal had to do what teams sometimes have to do in when you're in these big games. You're going to have periods where the other team is going to have the ball and is going to be dominant, and it's can you ride that out? And Arsenal did ride that out. They retreated because Madrid forced them to retreat rather than because
Yeah,
Arsenal went,
absolutely.
we're going to retreat.
But yeah, I do agree with you. I think that I think it was Ali McCoy that said it that at some point in commentary. Though I think the TNT commentary is atrocious with Darren Fletcher. Absolutely blowing atrocious, to be honest with you. I listened to he was going on, and he was like, "Oh, yeah, it's either going to be their it's either going to be revolutionary or it's going to be complete failure." And you're like, "What?" Now, yes, you can say, obviously not winning the trophy is ultimately failure, and we'll tell you that as well.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can't take it away where we've been this season. I don't think the squad is as good as everybody made it out to be. I think that there's obviously weakness in there, and whatever, and that's not basically glazing Arteta that he's done some miracle job, because he's had funds to build it from day one. So at the end of the day, that's what he should be doing. But he got us back into assuming that we'd be in Champions League conversations, assuming that we're going to be in title race conversations, and yeah, people are basically going, well, it just happens now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, I did find it noticeable last night, and that my phone was very, very quiet in some segments. Again, but I think Arteta has undoubtedly done a good job to this point. And as you say, if we don't win trophies, it will be a failure this season, and it may well and probably should cost him his job. But I don't think that makes him a bad manager, as some make out.
It
But
won't, though.
sorry,
It won't.
it won't. What? Sorry.
It won't cost him his job. He Our ownership won't do that, I don't think.
I agree. I think it's more likely that he
He either
resigns.
quits or
Yeah,
yeah.
because he thinks he's done as much as he can and feels that he's not quite achieved what he hoped to achieve. I agree with you. I think that more likely as an outcome than he gets sacked. To be honest with you, so I would definitely agree with you there. But what I would say is that you know the idea that he's a terrible manager. I find ridiculous, to be honest with you. Um, but as I say, it would be a failure this season simply because, as you say, the position we are in, you would be expecting to win at least something this season. But as you say, he's got us back to where we are. It does cost that sort of money to get you back to where you are. And, we've seen the likes of Newcastle and Aston Villa as proof of how difficult it is when you're, trying to compete in Europe with with a relatively thin squad. Because of course you're building your squad and the quality isn't necessarily there when you're building a squad. It's
Mm,
difficult, but undoubtedly, and there is absolutely no question in my mind, failure to win something this season would be a failure. And yeah, I think you're also right about the squad. It probably isn't quite as strong as it is. I still think it is one of the better squads in Europe in terms of depth, and one of the better squads in the Premier League, but maybe not quite as good as we thought it was.
mm,
It would also be fair.
yeah.
The only thing I would say to that is that some players that I know have the quality haven't necessarily been on form this season as well, which sort of makes it appear like the squad is slightly weaker than it is. But players like Martinelli, Ben White's fallen off, etc., do sort of
Yeah, we mentioned this
show
on
your point.
Tuesday, didn't we, as well? Well, it's kind of what happens as well when you've got the win one in, one out nature of kind of injury rotations, and that's not making an excuse. That's just a factual
It's just
statement, really.
yeah, exactly.
So
You know,
yeah, Hyper says, "Big up, lads. It's been a minute. Welcome in, sir. Nice to see you." Marco, first time visitor. Thank you very much for joining us. Please make sure you're hitting the subscribe and sharing the live. Any comments, just stick them in the chat and we'll respond to them. We try to respond to every single message. So
yeah.
yeah.
Including the next one from Niall, who made me realise how I say hello.
Hello,
Hello.
hello there.
I'm not
trying
even
to be
Scottish.
trying to be Scottish, but
No,
yeah.
no. If you notice my shorts, he's absolutely right. I say hello at the start of every one, and I didn't even realise until he pointed it out to me.
Well, welcome in, Niall. Yeah, if you're not subscribed to both channels, please make sure you're doing so. Marco says Ben White makes my blood pressure go up. Yeah, I mean, it has moments. I mean, Martinelli didn't do that for me yesterday because he was just nondescript. I think that there was the odd 1-2 that kind of happened with Incapié. There was one run where Incapié basically overlapped Martinelli and he just completely ignored him. That did wind me up, I have to say. But yeah, I think it's coming to the point where we all the writing's on the wall for a few players. But I do agree with what Dom said, and basically, although it's not where the squad want to be, I think we're only a couple of players off it, and I know people will take the mick out of that because we're always one player off. But I
At
think
least it's not
everybody's
four
always
anymore.
one player off. Say again.
At least it's not four anymore.
No, I
It
mean,
always used to be four. But you're right.
I
Everyone's
mean, you
always
could
one
argue
player
it's
off.
four.
Yeah, well, yeah, but
Yeah, for
but
the
it used to be
squad
the
again.
joke, wasn't it? Around Arsene Wenger. But you're exactly right. Almost you might have the odd season, but even then, over the course of the season, someone that might have been playing well previously isn't playing well because their role in the squad is diminished, and they need to be playing regularly to keep that level up. And players come past them, and as you say, you should always be looking to move on 2 or 3 players and bring in 2 or 3 players every summer to keep that squad fresh. I think it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Good afternoon, Spencer. Welcome in, sir. Massive weekend ahead. It is absolutely massive, and we just need to get the 3 points by hook, crook, line, sinker, any old way. I don't really care how. I'd rather not have a heart attack doing it. But you know, I mean, we've had about 36 of them. So,
What's another? What's another six between friends, or
yeah,
hopefully six anyway?
what's a few more? Yeah, but yeah, we are one match away from a major final. Um, so yeah, we kind of got to look forward to that as much as we've still got to be, apprehensive because the job isn't done.
No, it's not. No.
At 1-1, I still think. Were you happy with the draw? I mean, I'm kind of got to the point where I was happy but disappointed.
Yeah, I think that's it, isn't it? If you we talked about it on Tuesday, right? I would have taken a draw before the game because I just think what the one of the ways to win European two-legged affairs or any kind of two-legged affair really is don't lose away, win at home, right? So I'd have taken a draw because Madrid are no mugs. It's a difficult place to go, etc., for all those reasons. But after the game, yeah, I felt like Arsenal could have won that game. I think that's absolutely fair and right. I mean, probably overall the draw is about right, but I do
Yeah,
th- I
I'm
do
not
feel
saying
that we
that.
could have won it.
Yeah, I think over the course of the game, I think that the draw was probably fair. But I think we had enough attacking build up to have scored another goal. I think.
Yeah, and I do think a couple of refereeing decisions, big ones, went against us. I think that should have been a red card before half time, and I think that's a penalty. In at first look, I didn't think the as a penalty was a penalty, but the replays are quite clear.
What you saying a red card for the penalty that they gave away? You reckon that's
Yeah,
docked up?
in the first half, yeah, I do. I think from that
Mm.
position, 12 yards out, I think he's hitting that and he's scoring it.
The thing is, I don't think
I,
they're
don't
ever
don't
going
get
to
me
give that.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's one of those ones where I wouldn't expect VAR to intervene, because I
Well,
think there is an element of
They
that.
intervened to turn one over, so
They
why not?
did. Yeah, well, exactly, which is my problem because I think the ref got it spot on first time, but
Yeah.
what I mean by that, and we've spoken about it before with a couple of ones where we've said I think we thought there could have been penalties for things happening, but didn't think there was enough there for it to be clear and obvious. And I think you can understand why the referee in that moment gives that a yellow card rather than he didn't even give a yellow card actually, did he?
No,
But
he gave a yellow card for because it was for dissent
yeah,
because he basically kept screaming at him.
yeah, but
He didn't give one to Simeone for showing the yellow card and screaming at him and basically shouting at him when he's looking at VAR screen. But yeah, that's a different
I
story, I
think
suppose.
Declan Rice, who apparently is under UEFA investigation for his post-match comments, was right. The referee, the occasion did get to the ref a little bit, but yeah, I think there is definitely an argument for a red card. It's not one that I'm going to go absolutely nuts about. That that's a
Mm.
horrific mistake. But I do actually, yes, I think that is a red card because I don't think any defenders are getting over on the cover there, at all. And from 12 yards, I think he hits that, and I think he scores.
Oh yeah, I mean he definitely scores from there for me. That's where you want Gyökeres because he just laces through it.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. The thing is that a lot of players you think are leaning back there, but I don't think Gyökeres ever does that.
he had
I
his
just
head, I think he'd have had his head over the ball. It's impossible to know for sure because he gets a push and
yeah
it puts, causes him to sort of stumble. But I do
yeah
think it's a red card.
yeah. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of discourse because Arteta had the audacity to complain about the officiating, and basically because Gabriel didn't get sent off, he's not allowed to complain about decision now. It's a bit crazy, and yeah, it's only really Arteta that can't say anything, do anything about anything really. So it's a bit weird. Um, I can't imagine if Arteta was doing. In fact, people imply that Arteta does what Simeone does, and I've never seen him do it. But
Not to that level.
they all going like that, and he's literally on the touchline, waving cards around, shouting at the fourth official, shouting at the touchline. He was shouting at the ball boy at one point for for giving the ball back.
That's quite often you see that, don't you? But
Yeah, it's just,
but I
it's like
agree with you.
mad.
Is he animated on the touchline? Yes.
Of
Does
course he
he?
is. Yeah.
Does he say things to the fourth official? Yes, but it's not to that overt level of screaming and getting in the face and what have you. I think it's one of those ones where it's a bit like Robbie Savage or Roy Keane. It's become such a sort of impression people have of him that they automatically assume that's what he does every single game, which isn't an accurate or fair reflection, but it's what people's perceptions are, and I think they see what they expect to see rather than what they're actually seeing.
I swear people don't actually watch at all. I swear people don't watch, and they literally just take up the first comment and then just copy that comment. I swear to God, they can't watch the games. They can't. There was one comment yesterday that basically, last night, that basically talked about Arsenal parking the bus. And you're like,
no.
wait, what? What did you even watch? Because even when the subs came on, which Jesus, man, I know he was kind of attracting players, but that's kind of all he did. But even when the subs came on, we pressed forward anyway. We just pressed forward as a unit rather than the front three going. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of everybody went. So it was like, well, I don't really get where you're coming from, to be honest. Clearly, you just don't watch the game.
No, I mean, I did think on the subs. I think they were actually the correct subs last night. Gyökeres, I think, had a really good game. In some ways, it's a shame to see him come off, but I understood that. But I thought the other subs were spot on. I think Jesus wasn't brilliant, but I think just his sort of calmness on the pitch did help a little bit, but not. But he was the weakest of the subs, both in terms of quality, but also in terms of the impact. It took a few minutes for them to get into the game. Trossard gave the ball away a couple of times, for instance. But I thought once they did that, they did make a difference. And I do wonder if Gyökeres was also, and I know it sounds daft because we were talking about this, that you just prepare for that game and worry about Fulham afterward. I do wonder if some of that Gyökeres for Jesus was kind of pre-planned with the Fulham game on Saturday in mind. I don't know. Maybe it was a tactical decision, but I do wonder if that might have been part of it. But as you say, we didn't park the bus. We dropped deep for that 20 minutes, but that was because we had to because of Madrid's ability on the ball.
Yeah. Like I steal your content on your YouTube channel, you just stole my question to you. But let's go through these bits of chat and we'll go back through that because yeah, I've got to I've done no planning for this stream whatsoever.
Well, you planned for it on Tuesday and we didn't use it.
Yeah, I know, but this is actually worse because I just didn't plan for anything whatsoever. I've just been doing stuff all day.
Very quickly, before you go to the comment, I did a live yesterday, which I thought I was recording a short and then realised I was live and, panicked.
You posted that and I still haven't watched it, but I will watch it.
I wouldn't. It wasn't a great live.
I'll definitely watch it then. That's the whole point.
Hey, Jay, by the way.
Watching it. Yeah.
Jay's a Liverpool fan.
Jay's a Liverpool fan?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. That's fine. That's all good. Yep. Big up yourself, Jay. Welcome in. If you are joining us for the first time, please make sure you're subscribing to the channel. Arsenal Domination is Dom's channel as well, so make sure you're joining that. I think it's mostly because of how they want to trigger Arsenal fans with online discourse. That's kind of all it can be, isn't it? Really. I'll take it as yeah, exactly. I'll tell you, it is animated on touchline, but with Simeone, it is expected and almost accepted. If Arteta does it, the calm guy doesn't get to act nuts. The thing is, right? You remember when we played that City game? Pep was running up and down and slapping his thighs and literally just doing all sorts of stuff. And Arteta was just looking at him, going, "What are you doing, you silly old fool?"
You know, I've got a stat on that, by the way, because you are right. But Opta Stats had Pep Guardiola covering the sixth most amount of yards in that game out of any player.
Yeah, he's trying to get a one up on me and actually just get a rise out of me on his jokes. To be fair, we were far from apart, but narratives live on regardless of what people actually see on the field. I swear they don't see it. I swear they don't.
I got told the other day I didn't know what I was talking about because Arsenal parked the bus. But this is by our own fan base, by the way. It's a statistical fact that Arsenal have the highest line in the Premier League. It's- uh,
Yeah.
you don't need to watch the game. You can go and have a look on the stats if you want. It's as easy as that.
The reason that we can see goals is because we're pushed up that much. We're trying so hard to break the low block down that other teams with their pace and everything counter us, and we're caught out because yes, we have the best defense, but the defense is so high trying to break the low block down that it's semi easy to get through because there's not much of it. Everything's forwards, so that's where it is, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, I caught most of that. I had the itchiest ear, but yes, I think I know where you're going to finish off, and that actually it leaves a space essentially as a result
Yeah. Well,
of
the
the way
line's
it's
that
set up.
high that they've just got to
Yeah,
break the line, and then
yeah,
everybody's then relying on Van der Ven type pace to kind of run in with players, and yeah, I kind of think that that's why Rice has left in the middle of the centre backs to a small degree, but I think that plan has kind of run its course. I don't think it's as potent as it was. I just like to see us go back to a back four. Rice pushes that bit further forwards. It pushes Zubimendi that bit further forwards. Odegaard
which pushes
doesn't have to come
Odegaard a
as
bit further
deep.
forward.
Yeah, it's not that he pushes Odegaard forwards because he can't go any further forwards because he's always on the line, and we kind of looked at certain states that we play with the 4-4-2 more or less. He kind of makes up the second striker more or less, and then he kind of drops back in. But if you've got Rice in front of the back four, Zubimendi in front of him, then he doesn't have to come back at all. You basically created a triangle in the middle of the park with those players, and then you've got the winger creating a triangle on the other on the flank, and
And you've got the triangle behind you in the fullback as well if you need to go
yeah,
back.
yeah. So it all stems from there for me. It's a bit of yeah. It was veteran presence. See me get. See that's what I think it was. It was basically to look after the ball more. It was almost settling for the draw, but it was like, well, we're going to get a goal if we can. We've got more prolific strikers, so that more clinical strikers on the field. So if they get a chance, they're going to take it. That's kind of where I kind of see
Yeah,
it.
I think so. And we saw it play out, didn't we? Because we did keep
Yeah.
the ball better once they got up to speed in
Well,
the
you
game.
once Trossard stopped giving it away stupidly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, he did it. He did it about 3 times, I think. But then,
Yeah.
then he kind of grew into the game, I think. But again, they were pressing so much by that point. So I kind of see that as well. But it was almost like, well, we're settling for the draw, but if anything comes our way, then we've got an ad hoc, somebody that's going to be potent up front, basically.
It was settling for a draw without taking away your entire attacking line. It wasn't that we went, do you know what, Jokeris is coming off and on comes Christian Mosquera and we're going back five.
Yeah.
It was just giving a little bit more of a security blanket to make sure we didn't lose the game while still having the ability to still win it.
Yeah, I wish we wouldn't change the whole front three at once, though. I kind of wish we'd, maybe put 2 on and keep Jokeres on or something like that, and then left it 5 minutes, and then Jokeres comes off, Jesus gets on. But
Breaks up the game a little bit more as well.
Yeah,
which he needed doing at that point, I think.
yeah, I think it did. I was just trying to think that we did have the substitution window to do that, didn't we?
Yes, yeah,
So it
yeah,
wasn't because of
yeah. Well,
that.
we could have done. We did 3-1-1, didn't we? And we could have gone 2-2-1.
Yeah, yeah. So I just think that the front line doesn't all need to go at once, especially when um Saka's coming on, is just back from injury. Trossard he's been getting niggles all season really.
And he's also a
Um,
little bit out of form.
I think they're all out of form, aren't they? Really,
Well,
to be
there is
fair.
that.
So, but yeah,
That's also fair.
but I do think, like you said, um, I think it was an eye on Saturday as well.
I think so. It's a bit like people saying, "Why didn't Eza start?" Well, I don't think he was fit to start. I also think that Eza coming off the other week was fitness related. I know he came off in the last one because of an injury, but people saying, "Why did he come off at City?" I think that must have been a medical decision. It was a sort of
No,
pre-planned.
he had
This
a
is how
knock in
far
the
he can go.
game anyway.
Yes, he did, but I also think I genuinely think there was an element of,
It was
we he
planned.
it was planned, yeah, that he can't go
Yeah,
beyond this amount.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, but yeah, I do think it was planned. Obviously, with Saturday in mind, with obviously another game 4 days from there. So it's basically that kind of
Yeah,
scenario, isn't it? You're just
yeah.
kind of looking for all. And people that say that he hasn't rotated the squad, and I think we discussed this on Tuesday as well. I just don't see it. I mean, there are instances, of course, like everything, but if you think his brain works the same way as yours, as mine, whatever, then everybody has different opinions anyway. So he's going to have a different opinion. He sees everybody in training. He talks to the medical staff as well. So
But he has
we,
information we don't.
yeah, exactly. So it's all guesswork from our point of view,
Yeah.
really.
I mean,
And he's working with facts and not pretend. Oh well, so and so picked him, and so picked that. Do you know what I mean? It's all taken into account with him.
Exactly that, and we should get to comment quickly in a minute. But you're exactly right, and we did talk about it. But I think, basically, our conclusion was, apart from the two centre midfielders, I think we slightly disagreed on the defence. But he has rotated really well, and look, a stat came out today showing he doesn't rotate because only Liverpool have more players with over 3,000 minutes this season. Well, equally, Arsenal have played more games than most of the other teams that they're comparing them to. If you then take the average number of games and then the average number of players that have done that, Arsenal are roughly the same as Manchester City, who are slightly behind
Yeah,
with five
exactly. You
players.
can't compare them to Liverpool. You have to compare them to
No,
Man City
yeah, and
because they've
Arsenal are
been.
marginally behind in terms of they've had players play marginally more minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I did watch a thing with Gunnar talk, but and I mentioned this on Tuesday as well, where Saka hasn't been an unused substitute since 2021 or something,
Yeah,
which basically means obviously when he's not injured, he's on the bench and he always comes on to play, which I don't always agree with, but it reflects how we are in game state and that we're not always clinical in the actual games. So he has to come on. It was like when Wenger used to play squads like in the cup competitions, and he'd always keep um, the big hitters on the bench,
yeah,
and he always ended up bringing them on
yeah, because you don't tend to
because it
go
never
90
got
minutes.
done.
Yeah. Well, it's either not done, but also you don't tend to go 90 minutes with the same 11 on the pitch. And if
Yeah,
your bench is
exactly.
full of your starters, well, by definition, they're going to have to come on, aren't they?
Yeah. Spence says Trossard and Jesus looks rusty, in my opinion. I think their time is up.
Yeah, I think
I
so too.
honestly think the time is up, and I don't. I'm not chastising the players as such. I just think in the summer, I just think their time in the squad is done.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an age thing. I think it's a contract thing, and I think it's an injury thing with Jesus. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think we need to get out of this anyway. I think we literally need to be selling players earlier,
Yep.
so that we're not in we're not a retirement home. We're not waiting for contracts to expire or whatever. You
Agreed.
know, with lifetime players, Sakas and Declan Rices and stuff like that, that's different, right? But if you're looking at youth development players or players that have been bought in for what was Martinelli, £3.5 million or something?
I think it was 6 because I think there were
Yeah,
add-ons which took it to that.
it was not Marquinhos. What was his?
Marquinhos was the Brazilian right wing we brought in to try
That
and
was a
do the
right
same on the
winger.
other side. Yeah.
Yeah, we paid 3 for him, didn't we?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That again was supposed to rise till 6, but it didn't because he didn't hit the add-ons.
yeah, well, he didn't play enough, did he?
No,
Because he went out loan on to Norwich, and then kind of never came back, did he?
he went to Brazil after that,
Yeah.
and then he ended up staying in
Yeah,
Brazil. I mean,
in Brazil, yes.
but you look at these sort of players, and we talked about it a little bit with Ben White, that you're almost selling for pure profit now because of the length of time they've been here. You know, God forbid we sell Saliba this season, it's going to be pure profit because we signed him 5 years ago for what, 25 million ish,
27.
25?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're around the 27 mark. Him, Gabriel,
yeah.
Raya, they're all around the £27 million mark.
You know, and
Somewhere like
also
that.
their contract amortization is starting to run out. Even Rice's won't have that much more
Where
to go on it.
you also have to take into account with Saliba is he had 3 loan deals.
Yeah,
So we'd have got money for the loan deals anyway. His
and
wages would
saved
be off the
wages.
bill as
Yeah,
well. So granted, he wouldn't be on the ridiculous amounts that's
he's on now.
that they're on now, but yeah, he would have been on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome in, Sam Wilson.
They're all
Nice
coming
to
in
see
tonight.
you.
Hey, Sam, hope you're well. Happy birthday, Sam.
Oh, is that another one of yours? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Spending his birthday listening to us too. Oh, dear me.
He might be tired. He might be wanting to go to sleep.
Actually, if he's where we think he is, he's at least an hour ahead. So,
okay, fair enough. We didn't embark the bus, but I do believe we recycled the ball invited someone to. I actually think I actually agree with you, but I think we reversed roles a little bit. I think Arteta kind of took some of Simeone's kind of tactics, and whilst Atletico were laying traps the first half, I think he kind of flipped the switch, and yes, they were pressing and stuff, but I think Arteta tried to do the same. I just don't think the quality of players, certainly on the front line and at right back, were sufficient to do the job. I think that's all it was.
I think that's fair. I think that's totally fair.
I do not believe that Nkapie and White give us enough offensively to have them inverted. Submendi and Rice would offer more offensively and defensively than what we currently get out of fullbacks, which is exactly what I'm saying, right? If White's on form and he's creating, he's getting those crosses in,
on those overlaps.
He's doing that overload. He's creating the triangle with
Odegaard and Saka.
With Odegaard and Saka, or Odegaard and Gyökeres, which you wouldn't do it with Gyökeres because he's not that side anyway. You're basically relying on a Trossard or an Eza or whatever to be that side. So I don't think it works. So I'm just saying that if you go back to the back four and you basically dovetail it more or less, so you basically your 2 centre backs are back, your 2 full backs are up a bit, and Rice is in front, and then Zubimendi's in front of that, like offset, and then you've got Odegaard
and you can rotate Rice and
Zubimendi
round in that as well. You don't have to just stay there all the way through.
So it is more of a conventional double pivot. right? So rather than one in front of the other, you can literally work it as a double pivot because you've got the cover behind, you've got the fullbacks that can tuck in to cover the position left by the midfielder, and yeah, you can take it from there. So I'd like to see that a bit more. I think.
Yeah, and we spoke about it on Tuesday, and not having you. We want to see the central midfielders in the position that we often find our fullbacks this season. I think that's an experiment that failed, but
Yeah, I mean the inversion from Hincapié on the left, I think with a decent winger would work. But I think with White on the right, I think he wants the likes of Madueke to be right on the touchline, and I think it should work the other way around. I think he should overlap. He should overlap Madueke.
yeah, I agree.
So the Madueke is in a little bit, and he's running in from that point of view. So basically, he basically distracts their fullback to come over to cover him. So it allows him to either you play the ball through to White, who's coming past the defensive line, or he can take on his man, or he can just lay it off to somebody at the edge of the box. But yeah, I do think that the attacking options are a little bit limited. What do you reckon to Madueke's reaction actually when he was taken off?
Oh, I didn't notice him react.
Have you not seen it?
No, I must have. I didn't see that yesterday.
No, so basically, when Saka was coming on and all that, they were all coming on. They did the substitutions, covered that for a little bit, and then as he was going to the bench, he's basically punching seats, and
Yeah, no, I
basically
didn't see
just.
that. I didn't see that. I admittedly I was making sweet bags at the time, so yeah. I probably
And
missed
he
it when I
didn't
was
send
making.
me one. That's disgraceful.
No, so well, but yeah. So I mean, you watching the game and watch 90 odd percent of it, but I'm assuming that was sort of happening during a lull. So no, I didn't see that. I mean, I don't know. You can look at it two ways, can't you? Passion that you're disappointed to be off because you want to be out there. You could also sort of see it as a disrespect thing. I don't really mind too much in the heat of a moment as long as they're relatively respectful to the manager, shake hands or whatever as they come off, don't storm off down the tunnel. So I don't really care about that. What I was going to ask you though is what did you make of Madueke's performance yesterday?
I watched him, and it was like, a lot of times he either runs to the touchline and does nothing, or he runs and then stop start and does nothing, right? And I actually think that he tried to mix it up. He tried to do a bit of both, which is kind of all I asked for, really. Just mix it up so that
The
the guy
defenders gets
covering
in.
you doesn't know what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Now, granted, right, that his end product wasn't fantastic. He had that shot, like a bit more whip on it. It beats the keeper.
It was a decent effort, I thought, without
It
being
yeah,
like
it wasn't a ridiculously good effort, but
it wasn't as bad as
it
advertised either.
gave him something to think about, didn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if I had to rate him, probably out of 10, I'd probably put him on a 6, something like that.
I was going to say I'd give him a 6.5. Was
Yeah, I was toying with a 6.5, but on the conservative side, I guess.
Yeah, if you're going to whole numbers, it's definitely a 6. I mean, I thought it sort of summed up Madueke quite well, which was there was decent sort of effort. There were moments of making the defender think with little bits of skill and trickery. I'm thinking particularly about the one where he gets to the byline and puts up the cross to the back post. And I actually was thinking in the first minute, whip it hard across that 6-yard box. But actually, when I saw the reverse angle on that, I thought, actually, do you know what? That's a relatively easy cut out for the defender. So it going high was the right ball. And I think actually, if Martinelli had been on his heels, I think he gets to that. having not got to it, I think he's got to get out of the way. Hincapie's either got to call him or Martinelli's got to get out of the way if Hincapie has called him.
Yeah.
I thought that was his best moment in the game, but I think he had moments. There is definite work to do with that end product, but I can see there's a potential player in there if they can unlock that. The problem is it's been 2 seasons where it hasn't, but he was very stop-start at Chelsea, and he's obviously come to a new environment now. That end product, though, does have to improve, but I think he has been a satisfactory signing in terms of what he's produced as a backup to Saka, and he's also sort of in the right sort of experience level where he's young enough that he can still improve, but isn't an absolute kid, and that's probably where you need in the squad in terms of trying to be the side you want to be. But yeah, I think it did sum him up perfectly, didn't it? Sort of the first bit's all right, the end bit's a little bit of a problem still.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, we know that, and obviously, I'd prefer the price to be cheaper, but then
That's my big problem.
I think for that kind of money, I know he's a second string player, but I expect a bit more from him.
The thing I would say is I think he was bought in an inflated winger market. I think the market for that was very inflated over the summer because there were a lot of people looking at that kind of position and that
Yeah,
kind
with
of
Neto,
level.
Gittins, Garnacho,
Elanga, Garnacho,
yeah,
Madueke. And I think it inflated the market. And I think it was one of those ones where we needed that player, but it was an inflated market this year. And I think that did inflate the price. Obviously, it does help that he sort of helps with the registrations a little bit. I know he was Feyenoord originally, but he does help with it on. I think it's a European one he's fine with, but not the domestic one. It might be the other way around as well. But
which one's that? Sorry,
registration. One of them he counts as a homegrown player in terms of nation. One he doesn't. I think it's domestically he counts because he's English,
yeah,
even though, but he doesn't in Europe because, of course, he came through at Feyenoord. I think it was certainly one of the
yeah,
Dutch
yeah,
sides.
yeah. I think it's domestic
Yeah,
because they Chelsea couldn't classify him as a homegrown player purely because of European qualification.
yeah, yeah.
So
I think it's that.
we didn't buy him off as a homegrown player either.
No, but I think he does count domestically now, but not
I
necessarily
mean, it
English.
doesn't matter. I mean,
It doesn't matter
have
because
you
you've got
heard,
enough anyway.
yeah, have you heard
But
the new one?
what I mean is that inflates the market when you've got players
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that ilk
yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
But what I'm saying is, for it to be fully inflated, you need to be a fully fledged homegrown player.
Yes, yeah.
So you need to be valid for both competitions.
But I would agree with you on the price. But I think the context around the price is that market.
Oh, I completely agree, and I think that obviously, like others who got wingers at that point, they had to do it, and
I think arguably he's been the most successful of them as well.
yeah, I just expect a bit
It's a
more just
low.
because of price
I
tag.
agree with you. I do agree with you. I would have expected probably looking at 20 goals and assists with the number of minutes he's got this season.
Yeah,
I think the minutes I was expecting him to get this season, I would have expected around about the numbers he's got, funny enough. But given the extra minutes he has played this season beyond what I thought he was going to get, I would have expected probably another 6, 7 GA.
yeah. I also think that obviously, he's had his injuries, Saka's had his injuries, and they've kind of crashed into each other. Neither has really had time to recover from those injuries, really. And I'm not using injuries as an excuse before anybody kind of mocks me for it, but I'm just saying that they kind of you would like each player to kind of have a bit of progression.
5 games to come back in slowly, right?
Yeah.
It's a really interesting point you make there on the excuses point. I hate the excuses.
Penalty check for Forest, I believe.
Well, while we wait for that, Palace are 2-1 up in, well, they're not in Ukraine, but against Shakhtar. But I hate this because injuries are factors in it. They are legitimate factors to talk about. And I do hate the narrative that you talk about injuries and it's excuse. No, it is part and parcel of football. We all
Penalty.
accept that. It is a penalty, is it?
Yeah.
But it's also okay to talk
it.
about it. My stream is behind yours, I think. because I haven't got there yet. Either that or I missed it while I was talking, but yeah, that's a penalty.
Yeah, what is he doing, man? And now he's in tears. Yeah, don't put your arms up there then.
Yeah, that's mental.
Yeah. Did you see the I wanted to talk about the Ben White handball, by the way. Obviously, have you seen the ruling that they changed last season?
I mean, I know the rules this
UEFA.
season are that basically, if it hits your hand, it's going to be given as a penalty. But I didn't
No,
realise
no,
they
no,
changed.
no, 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 no. That was last
What's this?
season. The guidance for this season was was given out last season. Basically said it would only be given if your arms are over shoulder height.
Fair enough. No, I mean, I hadn't seen that. I mean, all I know is they've been given consistently this season, which, as we discussed
I
earlier,
completely
is no
agree.
problem.
I'm not basically
But
questioning
no, but I
the
hadn't seen that changed.
integrity, as it were. But yeah, Wood scored 1-0.
I am behind you still, but at least I know what's about to happen.
It would be so funny, honestly. It'd be so funny if Forest knocked Villa out, honestly. And I like Villa. My best mate's a Villa fan, and I'd love them to win it for him. Not Emery's biggest fan, but yeah.
I think Emery's a decent manager who just didn't work out. Oh, there we go, Chris Wood. Yeah,
I think I also think
hard, doesn't he? But
yeah. But I also think that he'd learn from the mistakes at Arsenal, and that's not being big-headed.
That's what you expect managers to do, right?
Yeah,
Even if they're in post.
Because he isolated players and such like, and he was just like he was basically, I'm the big I am, and he is. You know that you can't take that away from him. But what I'm saying is, they should be more inclusive to the players and bring them into team talks and basically go, okay, are you happy doing this? Are you happy doing that? And not actually getting approval, but yeah. You're online Big Blue. Wait, you're on again.
Almost as much.
I don't know if you're talking about me or him, or both of us. But yes, we're on again. You're not seeing things. It's a different shirt. When we haven't just stayed on regurgitating the same nonsense. So
well, maybe not on the latter part, but
not quite everything anyway. Spencer says an eye on Saturday with a Tuesday potential 120. Oh, please, not 120 minutes. I just need it done, man. Just need it done. I don't need 2 games within one day.
No, I mean we've got 4 games within 10 days. Not that anyone's noticed, but you know.
No, nobody's noticed. Only if it's City, you get noticed.
Yeah, we got to cry for them.
Yeah, I mean it's not like we haven't played. Games every 3 days for the whole of the bloody season,
or 4 away games in 10 days as earlier in the season.
Or didn't we play 6 games in 4 competitions with 4 away?
Yeah,
all in different competitions.
Yeah,
and we just have to pick up and get on with it. But
and that's what happens when you're competing for multiple trophies. I have no problem, by the way, with City trying to ask the Premier League to get them the fixtures the way around they wanted them. Fair play, but I'm glad the Premier League held firm.
Yeah,
and ultimately,
if they turned around and said yes, then I'd be very, very annoyed. I don't mind so much if it's moved by a day or 2 here and there.
They play on the Thursday instead of the Wednesday, or
but not flipping the script completely. And all right, the Wolves game was moved for us, which it would have been for City as well had it been in that instance. The Palace game would have been moved.
They would have played at the same time had Palace not been playing in Europe that week.
Yeah.
Palace could not play that game.
Yeah, and still can't.
The only thing I would say is what I don't like about it, and I've been accused of being very pro Arsenal, and maybe that's true. I didn't like the move to the Monday for us. I don't think anyone on that
not on the last game, but
no, I think that you should always play your last game at home on a weekend where possible.
Yeah, the only problem is that everybody is supposed to do the Monday, so essentially it's the only opportunity that they've had to give us a Monday. So I kind of get it. I mean, that's the TV rights for you.
Yeah.
So as much as we can complain about it,
Well, it is what
really.
it is. I'm
It's
just
our
thinking
own
about it from
fault for staying in competitions. If we'd have just
yeah.
gone, right, okay, we'll dump that one, then then
Well,
maybe
also
we'd
you
have had a
can't think
money
about it in those
earlier.
terms as you say.
Yeah.
But I mean, my complaint isn't about it for Arsenal, because in some ways it's quite favourable because they get 6 days is still a long time to recover ahead of the last game of the season, and it gives
Yeah,
you an
and
extra
City get that
24.
this week, don't they?
Yeah,
I think.
yes, they do
Yeah,
because they're Everton on
because they
Monday.
play Everton Monday,
Yeah,
don't they?
but from that point of view, it's actually quite helpful. But I was thinking about it from the fan, both for Arsenal and Burnley,
Yeah,
because
for sure.
actually, trying to stay late in the stadium on a Monday night and get home is quite a challenge for a lot of fans, and particularly for Burnley fans. I mean, they won't be staying for the clap because they'll do it at the end of the season, but it's a long way on a Monday night
Yeah,
down to London from Burnley.
I don't think they've taken their allocation either.
I
I
wouldn't have
think
thought
they
so.
yeah, so
They're
the
moonwalking some of them back after their new manager hire.
yeah, indeed. Although he's only interim, isn't he?
Until the end of the season.
Yeah, interim moonwalk. But yeah. It, it is a bit of a weird one. I mean, I kind of understood it to a point, but then yeah, unless they are looking at him long term and just give him an extra over the top of the preseason. But yeah, um, interesting who you bring up the pure profit. Or when you bring up the
Yep.
pure profit, people who don't understand the economics of the purchase price, length you had the player, depreciation of the asset. Exactly. It's not just about how much you paid on the transfer; it's how much you paid on the agents' fees, how much you paid them in wages, what the sell on is
Bonuses.
as well, the bonuses, not that we necessarily given anybody bonuses because we haven't actually won anything in those kind of periods, but yeah, it all comes into the equation, and I see that Dougie Critchley that basically was pluming for Man City again, giving it the net spend and their 11th and whatever. And you're like, well, they're only in that position because they plunge billions of pounds into the club and the training facilities, and now they've got the multi-club ownership and they're feeding it down. They've got a scouting network. They're feeding those down as well, so it's all
It's
funneling to the same place.
the only thing that net transfer value has any impact on is if you're saying this is helping support or not support their PSR position. But if you just take it on that, and that's why it doesn't work on its own, it only helps to sort of inform how they are passing or not PSR. But that's even then, it's only part of the calculation. Is because if you take Mark Gehi transfer as an example, that on a net transfer is going to be what 20-25 million, whatever they played Palace. What it was around that, wasn't it?
I think it's 2022, but something
Yeah,
like
and
that.
then
22.
I think if they win certain competitions, it goes to 25, maybe even up to 30 over time. But let's call it 25 for argument's sake.
I
Well, he's
mean,
been
so it
paid
must
for it.
already be there. They won the League Cup, and they so it must already be there.
But that doesn't factor in 300 grand a week wages. It doesn't factor in that the agent was paid 8 million.
Yeah,
It was 8 million plus his sign. It was 8 to 10 million for their combined bonus and agent fee. You know, it doesn't take into account all of these things. And
so it's like 50
Spencer's
million
absolutely
quid,
right here.
really.
Well, and the rest.
Yeah, but yeah, it all counts in the book, but nobody seems to understand to put in the player wages into the picture. To be fair, but there we go. Um, Mostly I paid X for a player, sold for X. They compare the two numbers, but it's much more. But that's because they don't understand,
Yeah.
and they don't. The mainstream don't report it really. They just report A to B, and it's funny because certain clubs they will report everything. They do that with Liverpool quite a lot, and they do it with Arsenal. They don't really do it with many
I,
other
I,
teams.
I was talking about this with a mate of mine who's a Liverpool fan. And in fairness to my mate who I was talking about earlier, the Tottenham fan, where I was ribbing about Peppa Pig. He was saying, yeah, he agrees. It's really interesting that when Tottenham were at their peak under Poch, they were talking about, you know, the wages of players and, making these numbers up, but Vermaelen's on 50 grand a week. And, David Luiz is on 120 grand a week at Arsenal. And yes, Arsenal were
Yeah.
overpaying. I mean, I can't remember the numbers, I made them up. But he's like,
Yeah.
but he said it's interesting. They've taken all of David Luiz's bonuses and whacked them in to say that's his salary, and they've just taken Vermaelen's base. And he said they do it with Liverpool too. He said, but some clubs they don't. They just take the base, so it makes it look
Yeah.
like it. But it all comes out in the wash because you can see the total spend on wages at the end of the year. And Arsenal, I think, are they're now moving into that top four again. But they brought their wages down initially under Arteta, and then have invested in players that have proved themselves to be worthwhile. When they're back in the top 3 or 4 now, I think. But you can see what you spend, so you can make it up all you want, but it will come out in the wash eventually.
Yeah, I mean the thing is that the ratio is down, even though the wage bill is up, because obviously the commercial revenue, I think when it was happening 6 years ago was about 250 million quid,
Yeah,
and now it's round about 700 million.
yeah. But income has massively gone up as well.
Yeah, of course, but that's what I'm saying. So, but
Exactly,
it's
that's why.
incrementally happened,
Yeah.
rather than it just happens, and which it has to for PSR anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're missing shooting opportunities right outside of the box by having the fullbacks inverted. Rice and Erdegaard would have been better shooting opportunities with the ability to have. And I completely agreed with this, Spencer, as well. You should come on the show, mate, because you got some good ideas in this chat. So yeah, you should come on, join our group and get yourself on the shows, mate. But yeah, this is another thing that I've said. That you need the quality, and the quality is in the midfield, not necessarily at fullback. When you haven't got Timber, at least. And Calafiori, who are doing they're doing that quality attack, or you've got White, who's not necessarily in form. Then you need the better quality players to be pushing up the field, and those better quality players, Rice, Erdegaard, Zubimendi, and when you've got an underperforming attack as well, you need to get those quality players closer to that attack so that they can affect it rather than affecting the defense. We know they can do it, but that's not really where we want their quality. We want their quality further up the field, box crashing, doing whatever to influence an attacking performance rather than.
I mean, I agree. I mean, to put it even simpler terms, if you've got a shot, from just inside or just outside the box, would you rather that fell to Zubimendi or Rice? Would you rather it fell to Timber or Hincapié? Because that's essentially what you're doing by pushing your fullbacks into those areas. I'm being very simplistic about it, but that's ultimately what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, if you even flip that to White,
yeah,
and
Calafiori,
Mosquera, one fell to Mosquera last night. So, I'd much rather those be back, and the midfielders be that much further up the field. I mean, at the end of the day, all those players can be centre backs anyway.
Yeah.
So why don't they just tuck in a little bit, play that little bit narrower, so you don't create the gap between the two centre backs, so you don't need the midfielders to sit inside it. I just think it should. I think there are more optimum ways of developing an attack. That's not saying I want things to change tomorrow, because I think that's for next season. To be honest, now.
I wouldn't mind seeing it sometimes either, just to mix it up a little bit. We talked about switching the wingers over. I think one of the problems with our attack is it's a bit predictable because we don't mix it around a little bit. So actually them coming forward occasionally may well work. But as you say, you don't want to see it constantly.
Yeah, for sure. Nani had a couple of decent crosses. He did. There was nothing groundbreaking though. I do think it was kind of effective breaking through, but then nothing really. One thing I will say is that I think it was Gyökeres's best game for a long time. Well,
since
not a long
Burnley.
time, probably since Spurs or since Leeds. Probably since Leeds, eh? And Spurs before that.
Yeah,
But
probably been a bit
but
harsh by saying Burnley.
yeah, but Burnley was he only had half a game anyway.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's
So
why I said I was being a bit harsh.
yeah, that's too far back.
Yeah, I
He
know.
he
I
had
mean,
he had good performances against Spurs and he had good performance against Leeds.
mm.
Um,
And
one of the cup games.
ultimately, he's on 19 goals this season.
Yeah, I mean for his first season, and I look, we all know that we wish that he could lay a ball off it every now and then.
Yes,
Um,
that would be lovely.
yeah, but he actually did. He actually did one. Last night. So it's like the one that he messed up against Newcastle that he actually managed to complete it. So it took 3 days, but he managed to complete it.
He got there in the end.
Bit mad, but there you go. The move helps the team, but hurts the fans, which is a real crime.
This was a Burnley game move.
Oh, okay, yeah, but yeah. The thing is that it should have been done beforehand, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
It should have been decided a long time ago. Burnley in interim manager, you're on trial. Make the most of this relegation team. Best of luck. Yeah, I mean, in fairness though, the last Burnley manager became Bayern manager.
well, I don't think that's going to happen to Scott Parker. Well, they got a second team,
Duras.
Bayern.
I'm going to say, I thought you were about Burnley. I was like, what?
I mean, presume they have, but it's the under 23s. But I think Crystal Palace are on their way to a final. 3-1 away.
Yeah, I mean, I would expect them to win that.
Yes, well, I would too. I remember having this row with people last season, about Tottenham winning. I was like, well, I'd expect the English teams to be in the final every year of both the Conference League and the Europa
You remember
League. I
when we
think.
played Shakhtar Donetsk in Champions League every season?
Yeah,
The
I mean, obviously they've
drop-off.
been. Well, I mean, understandably, given what's happening in the country and the fact they've lost their players and they don't play in there anymore. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that does have to be taken into account.
But Serie A's completely on its arse as well.
Yeah, I mean, for PS,
Fiorentina, who Palace beat in the last round, Jesus, they were a tough crowd, tough gig, way back when, but they're just completely in the bin.
yeah,
There's just no money in that league.
well, same in France, but beyond PSG. Even in Spain, I think, and Germany, the drop off beyond the top 2, 3,
Yeah,
arguably, and I think I think it's a fair summary, and I've probably said this before that the you know the English league is sort of the highest in terms of competitiveness, in terms of depth, but it's not necessarily in terms of the quality at the top. And similarly, Italy is very competitive with loads of teams. You keep seeing different winners every year, but the quality is nowhere near the Premier League. And it depends on
yeah,
what you want to watch and what you want to see. I'm being very generalistic. I don't watch leagues all the
I
time.
think Serie A, most teams can win it now purely because it is that close, and I think that they've got the award basis that is I believe it's the same as the Premier League where it's dished out evenly, and they
They have,
don't
yeah,
have the TV rights deals that we have over here, which kind of inflates what our teams make.
yeah.
It's
Well,
the
it's why
TV money that makes it.
it's why you see the likes of Everton are obviously having a very good season, but you see the likes of them or West Ham taking sides players that traditionally would have gone to Inter Milan,
Yeah,
Bayer Leverkusen, Borussia Dortmund, Sevilla. You're seeing mid-table at best sides, and I know, as I say, Everton having a good season, taking these players away, and you think
yeah.
it shows them where the money is.
Yay.
Khaleesi.
Tielemans hit the second tier.
I shall wait for the rugby shots as I catch up. But
Yeah,
Cleda's arrived.
it was a conversion. Really was a conversion. But there we go. Khalid, welcome in, sir. Yeah, if you are in here, please make sure you're hitting the like and subscribe. Sharing out the live as well. Yeah, we're going to be on for about another 5 minutes, I think, and then we're going to call it. But yeah, if you're not subscribed to both channels, if you follow Dom's name there as well, that is his one. Spencer says spot on about Europa League and Conference League. Premier League sides will absolutely dominate these competitions. The thing is, when the Champions League teams used to drop in to Europa, it made the competition stronger.
Yeah.
But it's completely taken it away now, and because they've added the Conference League, they can't do that.
Yeah.
They almost want to. What they almost should do is have a drop down between Champions League to Europa League, and a drop down from Europa League to Conference League. So if it's a certain stages, and I know that people said that it was rewarding failure and stuff like that. If you look at the monies that are paid out in prize money from one competition to the other, it's really not. It's really not awarding anything, to be honest. Yeah,
it's like winning the Carabao Cup. You get 100 grand, don't you? Something like that.
It's $1 million, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah, it might be. I think it's peanut. It's very low.
Yeah, anyway. I think that's $1 million. I think the FA Cup 6 million or something.
Yeah, I thought it was 7, 8, but yeah, either way.
Yeah, I think it's 6 million, but yeah, you've got TV rights, so I think there's a little bit more. But yeah, did you see what we're on for the Champions League right now?
150 million if we win, isn't it?
Yeah. So
I mean, have that Chelsea with your 100 million for winning the World Club Championship,
right? I mean, it's yeah.
I mean, we've got to win it first, but
yeah, you've got to enter it first. But no, you can get in it without winning it. You know,
you can. But I meant we've got to win the Champions League, is what I meant.
Yeah, but you don't have to win the Champions League to get in the Club World Cup.
No, you don't. No.
It's the primary qualification route, but it's if there isn't one in the last 5 years, I believe it is, then it goes on UEFA coefficient anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I think they made it so that Chelsea would get into the next one anyway because they're the defending champions.
So I'm laughing because I've just seen a still of Lucas Digne. Hulk.
I don't with his arms up in the air.
Yeah, I don't really know superheroes too well, but I know Hulk.
I was like, I seen the face. What the hell's going on there?
I just literally seen a still from behind, and it was just straight away what crossed my mind was, you know.
That is the other thing. UCL team not going into it. How long before it gets looked at with disgust by the English media? I don't think they can. Because they're paying for it. So, yeah, I'm not sure they can look at it like that because they're still buying the revenue for it.
Yeah,
but, yeah. I think the Champions League to Europa League is the gap is opening up, and it's even questionable whether you should get a Champions League spot by winning it. It's almost like you should get a Champions League spot, but you should you'd like they used to have where the qualification rounds. So it'd almost be it can take you to the qualification rounds. It always makes me laugh when people go, "Oh yeah, the Europa League it's massive and this that and the other," and you go, "All right, well stay in the Europa League then and defend it." Well, you're not going to do that, are you? You're going into the Champions League because there's another well, percentage-wise, there's but like 90% on top for the Champions League, and that's including TV revenue. So you know, do you root for English teams in other European competitions, or don't you care, or you hope they don't win?
The answer is generally speaking, yes, for two reasons. One, I think it's good for the coefficient. Secondly, sides like Crystal Palace, it's amazing for them. I think there are exceptions to that, which are Spurs, for obvious reasons. And then maybe someone like City or Chelsea. What I'd want them to do is get quite far if they're competing against us. So this year, I'd want Chelsea to go out as early as possible because they're Chelsea and they're not competing with us. City, I kind of wanted them to beat Real Madrid, so they had the extra games, but I didn't want them to. I wanted them basically get to the semi-finals, lose, and then you know then they got the extra games
So you,
without.
but you're not supporting them, then, are you? You're supporting your club,
Yeah,
wanting.
exactly.
So
So
you want whatever suits your club
exactly,
to happen, really, and that's
exactly.
exactly the same with me because I always used to be. I'd support any English club in Europe, whether it be whatever competition it is, um, because I watch the English league and I love that competition. Now we get so much stick from everywhere. Um, I couldn't care less about the English league and whatever. I want what's best for my club. So
Yeah, exactly.
as
I
Dom
agree.
said there, if we think um City going further and further in the Champions League benefits us, then that's what we want to happen. If we think that you know Chelsea might benefit from the money for the Champions League, we want them to go out.
Yeah,
That's kind of where I'm at, to be honest, because
that's
it's
exactly where I'm at.
all the people basically just basically go. We don't want Arsenal to do. I mean, even teams now who have been out of the competition for God knows how long are now going. Oh well, they'll lose this one. They'll lose this one, and they'll lose this one. And I have to say, every single time we come on a stream, you have to go. This is going to be their first loss because the last time you did that it was the Sporting game, and we ended up drawing that game, and he was just like, yeah, or winning that game even, and it was like, well, yeah, it was a positive curse from Dom predicting the scoreline.
Well,
Just
I did.
like,
I didn't think we. I think I said a draw in Sporting, but I did think we'd lose for the first time last night. Not last. Yeah, last night. It was last night. Yeah.
but there was another game where you said you thought it'd be our first loss. I'm sure there was.
I yes, it was in the group stages. I think it might have been Milan
Bayern.
away. No, Bayern at home. I thought we. I didn't think we'd lose that one.
Yeah, because
It was.
it was at home.
It was at home. Yeah, I think it would have been into away.
Inter.
I would have thought. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah,
wasn't Sporting. I think I predicted a draw for that one. Don't
yeah,
quote me,
maybe.
but I don't. I'm pretty sure I didn't say you'd lost in that one. But you know, I mean, it's quite remarkable that we're 2 games to go in the competition. If we get there, of course. But there's 2 games max to go for us, and we still haven't lost. I mean, it's
Yeah,
quite some feat.
yeah,
Obviously, that
absolutely. Yeah.
that doesn't make the season a success just before I get killed for saying that. But you know, it
Well, he
is
does if we go and beat him through the whole thing
well, yeah.
because we have to win it then.
Well, indeed, but
Because
it's funny you're talking though about opposition fans though. There, I was getting a load of stick last night. Going, imagine watching Arsenal and having to, watch the Josh you put it up instead of watching Paris. The likes of Paris and Bayern. This more in the last round than it. It's like, well, they're definitely going out. Or, uh, terrible to watch. All this extra effort and you're still dull. Like you're just jealous, guys. Like you're,
that's all it is. But
yeah,
what it is the they don't like being wrong. So every time they say something, well, we'll be right this time, and we'll be right this time, and be right this time. So it's just like just to say that you were right one time out of the 15 times that you're wrong.
yeah,
You
throw
know,
enough mud in
I'm
it. So,
I used to play. I played this game at pool. This guy at pool, and I played him so many times, and he owed me about 150 quid. Like it's just like, and he kept going like double the quits, double the quits, double the quits. And I was just like, well, yeah, we can go double the quits, until the cows come home. You're going to win one of them eventually,
Yeah.
and then it's quits. And it's just like, well, you don't owe me anything. Pay what you want this time. I'll go and get the beer, right? And we'll start again. How's about that? Oh, no, I'm not doing that. Right. Well, pay up then.
My favourite was someone bet me in the summer that Arsenal would sign a striker in Zubimendi, and I was like, I'll take that all day long. And they won't pay up the bet because I was wrong that Arsenal didn't win the league last year.
What?
Because that's what matters, and if you're wrong about that, I was like, what? I mean, I don't care. I don't care about the money. It doesn't bother me. But
no, but this is the thing, and it's something that happens all the time now. You can't complain about the officiating from last night's game because Gabriel should have been sent off in the City match.
Yes, but so should Kushanoff.
So Kushanoff should have got sent off.
And Gabriel should have been sent off, no question. Yeah, no complaints from me if you get sent off there, apart from Gabriel.
But what about Kushanoff?
Exactly. But also, what difference does it make? We all know the referee made the error with Gabriel and Kushanoff, but let's put up Kushanoff for a second. Why does that mean we can't complain in this one?
I don't get it. It doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
Makes no sense at all. Spencer says, definitely enjoy the conversation. Good analysis. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Spencer, because we have put no planning into this whatsoever.
On either stream.
We're literally just off the cuff in it and just we're like chatting in our front room. That's kind of where we're at the minute, to be honest. So yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it because it's quite nice when everything's like kind of not scripted and it's just like flowing and whatever. I watch a lot of streams and there's a lot of screaming at each other and there's a lot of you don't agree with my points, I'm going to shout louder than you and stuff like that. And it doesn't make for a very happy viewing experience, to be honest. It's much prefer it's where you can hear both each other. You might find a bit of an overlap when we're conversing, but that's basically because we're not in the same room.
Yeah, we think the other one's about to stop.
Yeah, so we kind of it's kind of a bit of a knack, I guess, to try and keep everything going and have a normal conversation. But there we go. Right, I think do you want to do lineup for Saturday? What do you think?
Okay, I haven't thought about this yet, so here goes.
I'm glad because that's the idea.
So it'd be David Raya in goal.
Will it? You sure?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I would start Mosquera and have a pre-planned sub for Ben White, on the assumption that Mosquera then starts on Tuesday. It is Tuesday we play, isn't it? Next week.
Tuesday, yes. We play Wednesday, so it's
So that would be that. Then the usual centre halves, and I think if you start Mosquera, I'd go Calla on the other side.
Was he on the bench yesterday?
I think so. If not, I would go Hincapié again because I think he's got the minutes in him anyway. I would go. We've got to win this one, so I've got to go Rice and Zubimendi. I'm okay with Norgard coming in, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Rice and Zubimendi will come in again, but I'd really like to see one or both of them subbed off if we've got the game won. I think it will then be. I'd go Trossard left, Odegaard middle, and I'd start Madueke again on the right because Martinelli's bang out of form. And I think Saka off the bench again, and then Gyökeres up front. I think that's the line I'd go for. And I think Arsenal might win this one 3-1. But my only fear with this is we've seen all season how difficult it is coming off the back of a European away game into the league. The only advantage being that Arsenal are at home. So it saves another travel. But I don't know what your starting prediction is.
Yeah, I think the upside to this one is after this next one, then it's a week break essentially. So there's this is kind of the last rotation, more or less.
Yeah.
The last the last 3 games or the last 2 lost count. Probably is the last 2 games where there won't actually be any rotation at all. It'll just be the strongest 11. I kind of agree with that with you to a point. I don't think Calafiori starts because he didn't get any minutes.
No, and I think that as I said, I think Nkapie can go the full lot.
Yeah, I think it'd be Nkapie.
I think it will be. Yeah.
As Mascara got minutes, I think Mascara will start, and he'll save White for Tuesday.
Yeah, I'd go Mascara on Tuesday, to be honest, but that's just me.
Yeah, I don't think he'll do that purely on experience and the fact that in a couple of cup games he's done a couple of loose passes and kind of let opponents through. So I think that might be in his head a little bit. Probably going for everything else apart from Eze on the left.
Yeah, I think it depends. If Eze is fit to do significant minutes against Fulham and they're not worried about him being available for Tuesday, I'd go Eze. The reason I went Trossard was because we know he got a little knock in the last game. He then was on the bench this one. I'd rather have him Tuesday than Saturday. I know I said Saturday's important, but I think Trossard is good enough to play and win. You still win against Fulham, or should be. But if Eze's fit enough to do both, then he does both for me.
Okay, and you're going a 3-1.
I'm going 3-1, which is probably brave because Arsenal have looked a little bit conservative, particularly at home. But
I was going to go 3-0, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Fulham will get one.
Maybe. I don't know where they actually are in the pecking order at the minute.
Fulham, I reckon about 14th. I'm doing that from memory. I've got the table up now. Oh,
I thought they were higher. 10th.
They're 10th.
So
I thought Palace and Fulham were the other way around, and Palace are 13th. I don't know why, because Palace were being talked about being in the relegation zone potentially, but there you go.
So they're 1 point off 1 point off 7th.
Yeah, 2 points off 6th, which is potentially Europe.
Well, no, 7th Conference League, isn't it?
Yeah, 7th Conference League, but sorry, I was talking Europa League. So yeah, in with a shout. Could you?
So, yeah, that's the only thing, isn't it? I mean, yeah. Hopefully they stick with their form that you told us last stream.
They're in that nice pattern, aren't they? Lose, draw, win. Lose, draw, win.
Yep. Yes. The roulette pattern. We'll follow that with every letter. 35-1, whatever it is.
And then we can all, if we win, and it is still an if, because we shouldn't definitely take it for granted, because as I say, the away travel, Fulham not a bad side, and our form's still not brilliant. That is some significant scoreboard pressure back on City. And we can all become Everton fans on Monday.
Yeah, I mean, I choose not to be fans of other clubs anyway. I kind of...
It was rhetorical rather than literal, but...
I take it as though... City are going to win, and then I'm much happier if they don't.
Yeah,
rather than having hopium that they then they lose or draw, and you just go, oh, they won.
Yeah, I mean, what I mean by that is you're hoping that Everton do us a favour, but you have to assume that City win. Of course, you are spot on there, but there is. What we do need to do is just keep winning, and then we'll see what happens come the end.
You have to look after us and make sure we get all the points and win every single game. And if we win every single game, it will shut people up.
Yep.
If we don't, they've got something to talk about, haven't they?
Yep.
So yeah. Right. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, please make sure you're hitting like and subscribe. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. We'll be back probably Tuesday next week.
It won't be Tuesday.
It won't be Tuesday because we're playing Tuesday. might do one Monday if you're on, if you're available
I
Monday.
play football Mondays, but I'm just seeing I might, because it's bank holiday, have an off week. I'm just checking.
Oh, it's bank holiday as well, isn't it? Yeah.
No, I have an 8 o'clock kickoff on Monday.
What, 8 p.m.?
Oh no, wrong week. Yeah, 8 p.m. No, I don't have a game Monday, so I might be around.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll do it Monday then, and then do one Monday and then one Thursday or something.
Sounds good.
Yes. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Make sure you're dropping likes and subscribe both channels. His name is at, so yeah, follow that. Yeah, thanks for joining us again, Dom.
No, pleasure. Always good fun. Always good chat. And thanks for having me on.
Yes, indeed. I might prepare for the next one as well. And yeah, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.